board meeting to order. We have a roll call, Teresa.
Commissioner DeFilippo.
Present.
Commissioner Hartzler.
Here.
Commissioner Ockelberger.
Present.
And Controller Whitcomb.
Here.
Thank you, Teresa. Is there any public comment regarding the salary board? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve salary board actions?
I'll make a motion to approve the salary board actions.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have approval of meeting minutes of June 17th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 17th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any other business to be brought from the salary board? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn. Thank you. We rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner DeFilippo.
Present.
Commissioner Hartzler.
Here.
And Commissioner Ockelberger.
Thank you, Teresa. Is there any public comment? Okay, we'll move on to approval of meeting minutes of June 13th and June 17th. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of June 13 and June 17.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. We have a motion to approve the public safety review team minutes of May 29th. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments on the minutes? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of personnel transactions. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the personnel transactions.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of budget resolution 2019-19, budget adjustment. Is there a motion for approval?
I'll move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of contracts and grants, items 8.1 and 8.2. Is there a motion for approval?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the contracts and grants, items 8, 1, A, B, C, D, and E, and 2. A, B, C, D.
Okay, is there a second? Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have approval of donations for the 2019 Sarah Summit, Members First Credit Union, Power Engineer, Barton, and however you pronounce that. Thank you. Is there a motion for approval? Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of the vendor addendum to the designated exchange agreement. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the addendum.
Is there a second? Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of the joint bridge agreement with York County. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have approval of capital project requests. Start with the assessment, CAMA server project, amount $52,250.60. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have the courts, furniture courtroom 5, project amount $39,528.50. Is there a motion?
Sure you want to do this one, Jim? As if you wanted to make the motions. No, I'll move for that.
Can we have a motion? Is there a second? There is no second. The motion dies. Or is it tabled, Mr. Silver?
It's not tabled, it dies.
Motion dies. Okay. Next, we have prison, juvenile life scan machine, project amount $17,000. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, Next, we have the recycling, horizontal wood recycler, project amount $643,260. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have discussion and approval of victim witnesses, VOCA 2019-20 competitive number 3 grant grant in the amount of $160,499. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the competitive grant number 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have the approval of the reappointment of Ken Cummey to the South Central Workforce Development Board for 3-year term effective July 1, 2019, expiring June 30th, 2022. Is there a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have approval of general disbursements, transfer utilizations, item 15A through G. Is there a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd like to report executive session was held Thursday, June 27, 11 a.m. Regarding negotiations with personnel, do we have any other business to discuss?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to mention that we're all aware of the fact that there's a piece of legislation sitting on the governor's desk, Senate Bill 48, that was overwhelmingly approved in both the State House and the State Senate, and it provides critically needed funding to help us pay for the new election machines that we just selected last week. We know in Cumberland County, the estimated cost is up to $4 million, and this would fall on the backs of our county property taxpayers to a large extent, unless there is state funding forthcoming. The legislation, was not immediately signed by the governor because it includes some other provisions that I believe have given some pause. One of them is, and probably the most dominant provision is, that it would eliminate the option that voters have to select a straight party by pushing one button. We're apparently one of the only states in America that still has that option. Doesn't mean that anybody can't vote straight party. They just have to individually select the candidates. You want to vote Democrat, you want to vote Republican, you just vote for all of them, right? But apparently there's some consternation from some, a lot of Democrats, to be honest with you, that we should keep this straight party option in place. I personally think that we want to do everything we can to make voting more accessible. There's other election forms like no excuse absentee ballots that I think should be considered. But I also think that as we encourage all voters to participate in the democracy, and we want to make it as easy as possible for people to vote, that I also think that we ought to maybe expect an informed voter. So I don't see that there's anything contrary to that with respect to this, if you will, reform of eliminating the straight party option. I've discussed it briefly with our director of elections, who tells me that actually it'll remove a step, make it easier for her to set up the equipment.
We can't do that.
Well, make it easier for them.
Right. Just make it long.
So here's the thing. I've already voiced my opinion to the governor's office, placed a call to one of his assistants as soon as this bill passed, and personally requested that he sign this legislation into law. But we have an option, and I think we were asked by our County Commissioners Association to consider sending a letter to the governor. So we have a couple of drafts of letters here. I'll leave it up to my colleagues as to whether we want to do that. But I certainly would be supportive.
Thanks, Jim. Harry, any comment, thought?
I'm just now glanced through these letters. I would ask that when these get circulated in the future, that they state draft on them, so I've signed 2 letters. So, on the matter of hand, I'm not sure I have a strong opinion on it, but I'm not that well briefed on the bill. I'd be hesitant to eliminate straight party voting, even though I'm not a big fan of it. We're going to talk about ease of voting. I think there is a segment of the population, particularly elderly, for whom it is actually a step that's easier and provides access to them. So I'm not a big fan of removing options. So I might have a little trouble with that. But again, I'm not versed on the details of it. I don't know the pros and cons. It hasn't been spelled out to us. I think if we send a letter, it would be fine to voice support for the parts that we all know we agree on. I think that would be preferable.
So you would support a letter that would not discuss straight party?
Yeah, I would rather just leave that provision out of it. It's-
But the bill is tied into, which I don't understand, why doesn't the legislature just make it a separate bill? But I guess maybe that's the way they do things over at the Capitol. Bethany, if this goes through where the straight party is eliminated, maybe we're gonna have to educate voters, because there are a lot of voters in Cumberland County, both sides, that vote straight ticket.
Yes, 60% are Republicans, usually 40% Democrats in Cumberland County. Votes for a party.
And that concerns me.
Yeah, I would just a brief commentary.
Yeah.
I believe that every Republican lawmaker in Cumberland County voted to support this legislation. And I don't believe that this was a provision, this elimination of straight party, that was advocated by the administration. So, you're right, Vince. You know, it's a shame they have to mix these 2 things together. But I mean, the big part of this legislation is $90 million in state funding.
I think we all agree with that.
Yeah. So sometimes you gotta take the little bit of bad with the good. I'm afraid that, you know, we're gonna be left high and dry, you know, if the governor doesn't sign this bill. That's my concern. But we can, you know, I mean, you know, we don't necessarily need to weigh in with a formal letter from this board, or we can just say that we've been asked to consider this, you know, to provide the funding. But you know, it's tied together. You know, you can't eliminate them. He can't, like, with the individual budget item, like line item veto some of this. It's part of the language of this legislation. So.
Well, I would be supportive of the letter if we remove the 1 paragraph regarding the straight party voting. Now, I know maybe that sounds kind of dumb, since if it goes through, it's going to go through with it. If it's vetoed, it comes out. My concern is, I think, the money for the machines is, we all agree to that, there's no doubt. So I would support that if we remove that 1 paragraph. That's just my opinion.
So which one are you looking at this?
With this version, Jim, which I think is yours, it would be paragraph 3.
You probably, yeah, you could probably just eliminate paragraph 4 too, if you're talking about this one, right? So you just give them 2.
That's one. And the other one,
See what that does.
it doesn't read.
Decision on this today. I know there's some time urgency involved.
Well, we don't, I think the governor has 10 days to sign it, but I don't know when. You know, I mean, they passed this on Friday.
I mean, we're being asked to accept a proposal that has being asked to support a proposal, we're being asked to support, in this case, all the proposal. And I'm not sure I really feel comfortable doing that. I don't know the ins and outs of this issue. I don't know the motivations of either proponents or opponents of it. And I just hate to get labeled with one side or the other. I don't care what the party they will. Our delegation is wrong on lots of things.
Well, I don't have a problem. We don't need to speak out on this particular bill this time if you don't want to, so. I've already voiced my personal.
I guess I'd rather we either reach a determination that we can support the bill in total, or we just not participate in this. Do we have
Yeah, I think what I read, and Gary, I'll give you the, you haven't really had a chance to look into this, but I think I read that there's a total of 9 states in the country that still have this option, and a number of those states apparently are moving in the direction of this to get rid of the one straight party, one button option, or whatever. I used to call it one lever option, I guess, but now it's one button. I just call it one button option. And interestingly, two of the largest Democratic states in the country, New York and California, have done away with it. They don't have it any longer. So I think this kind of like cuts both ways if there's a political consideration, in terms of whether it could benefit Republicans or whether it could benefit. I don't think it should be a partisan. I don't think it should be a political issue.
Again, both sides, both parties have a huge number of adherents that are using the practice. And eventually we may outgrow straight party voting. I'd much prefer that it happen organically rather than us essentially trying to take away that opportunity for people who may feel comfortable with that. Whether we agree with it or not, it is their option. And it's apparently one a lot of them are comfortable with.
Well, we can discuss this, further, but I mean, one of the things that and I've had some people from both sides tell me this. They go into the voting booth and they believe that because they're a Republican, or they believe because they're a Democrat, that they need to hit that Democratic button or that Republican button. And, I think that that's not the case. They can choose whoever they want. And if they want to vote, all Democrats, they want to vote all Republicans, they have that ability. So, but
I don't think we're going to do anything else.
Yeah, we could take action possibly Wednesday, so I would suggest we consider that. Again, we don't have an agreement here. It should be signed by all 3 of us, in my opinion. Any other discussion on this? Is there any other business in this? Is there a motion to adjourn?
For
Or adjourn, thank you.